So one of the biggest challenges is resources. Obviously, resources are not easy. Internationally, we know the global challenge. Globally, you can never have enough resources anyway. You cannot have, when I say resources, I mean even manpower, like human capital. You can never have efficient, effective human capital to run the development process in any ministry.
During the meetings, officials from the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs used the opportunity to introduce the MTEF initiative, which is expected to be rolled out to other ministries. These women councillors from the Kanifi municipality hailed the office of the Vice President for organizing such an important event. Mama J, Grts.
Laboratory personnel from the West African sub-region are gathered in Banjul to share and learn new techniques of clinical trials in tuberculosis, HIV and malaria. The week-long training exercise organized by the Medical Research Council and supported by West African Network of Excellence for TB, AIDS and Malaria, WANETAM and EU's European and Developing Countries Clinical Trial Partnership. Abdullah Baji has the rest of that capacity building effort.
The West African region are benefiting from a week-long training program on new TB diagnosis techniques under the aegis of WANETAN. The WANETAN project in its fourth year now is funded by the EU, European development countries, clinical trials partnership with the objective of building the capacities of participating institutions in West African sites for clinical trials in HIV, TB and malaria. Medical Research Council Unit The Gambia is one of the nodes of excellence in the WANETAN consortium and the focal point for TB. The MRC Unit Director Professor Tumani Kora spoke on the different knowledge from this exercise could make in the health of people as he singled out early diagnosis and early intervention in stopping TB.
The future for you is bright. You can concentrate on this, focusing on this, and making sure that we can diagnose TB within a day of making the diagnosis, of seeing the patient. When we start seeing this, and when we start introducing treatment at the very onset of therapy, we'll break the cycle of infections within our community. The biggest problems we have today is the delay in diagnosis. People will be coughing in their houses for months before they are diagnosed. People would have to travel for distance before they receive treatment. We need to shorten therapy. 6 months is short compared to 18 months therapy, which we always enjoyed before, but it's not short enough. Early diagnosis, early intervention, quick clearance of the bug will make our future bright.
For her part, the WHO official at the program reported that TB epidemic in Africa is largely driven by factors related to poverty and HIV-TB co-infection, as TB control continues to face major challenges globally.
Of course, the most effective way we all know of preventing the spread of tuberculosis is early diagnosis. And the introduction of new rapid TB detection methods in Africa has actually significantly reduced the delay in diagnosis. And as a result of treatment success, due to early treatment, the progress of the rising trend of TB has been halted.
Speaking at the occasion, the Director of National Public Health Labs, Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Ignatius Balde, lamented that despite being a curable disease, TB still accounts for more deaths than other single-celled infections organisms.
The lack of accurate, robust, and rapid diagnostics for tuberculosis impedes management of patients and disease control. For the individual patients, the cost, complexity, and potential toxicity of 6 months of standard treatment demands certainty in diagnosis. For communities, the risk of transmission from undetected cases requires widespread access to diagnostic services and early detection.
The European and Developing Countries Clinical Trials Partnership was created in 2003 as a response to the global health crisis caused by HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. These diseases, according to experts, do not only ravage lives, but as well as impede development and cause poverty.
In addition to the training objectives of WANETAM workshop, participants, including those from the National Public Health Laboratory of the Gambia, will have the opportunity to network in order to foster South-South collaboration between sub-regional institutions. This will undoubtedly facilitate shared research and the development of trial-specific expertise at the participating institution.
The earlier a disease is detected, the quicker to stop its transmission within the community and the pathogen from spreading. In this light, the training is theoretically as well as practical crucial to the Medical Research Council's labs on TB case detection methods sensitive enough to detect cases early. Reporting for Grts News, I am Abdullah Baji.
When we come back, we'll look at news from outside the Gambia. Stay tuned. The top judge of Egypt's Constitutional Court, Adli Mahmoud Mansour, has been sworn in as interim leader, a day after the army ousted Mohamed Morsi and put him under house arrest. The country's military was also instrumental 2 years ago when Hosni Mubarak stepped down. CNN's Atika Suba takes a look at the military's influence in the Egyptian political landscape.
Is Egypt's military a hero stepping in to restore order, or does it threaten to put the country under indefinite military rule? Well, since the 1952 coup d'etat by Gamal Abdel Nasser, the military has always been crucial to securing and maintaining political power in Egypt. The Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, or SCAF, is massive, more than 450,000 personnel, taking up 3% of the country's budget. And under President Hosni Mubarak, a former military chief himself, retired officers staffed the highest levels of government. In 2011, when protesters filled Tahrir Square and demanded Mubarak step down, it was the military that offered to run the country for 6 months to widespread public support. But 6 months turned into 17, and when Islamist Mohamed Morsi was elected president, the military gave up the reins of power. Now, since then, the military has, for the most part, stayed on the sidelines, but when millions filled the streets again, calling for Morsi to leave, the military weighed in once again. For now, the generals have the support of anti-government protesters, hoping perhaps that they will safeguard the country's unruly transition to democracy without overstaying their welcome. Atika Schubert, CNN, London.
Well, from that timeline of Egyptian military there, a look once again at our top stories. The President, His Excellency Sir Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, Wednesday urged parliamentarians attending the 4th WAPAC conference in Banjul to support the efforts of their governments towards transparency and the judicious use of public funds. Laboratory personnel from the West African sub-region are gathered in Banjul for a week-long training program, seeking to share and learn new techniques of clinical trials in tuberculosis, HIV, and malaria. The influence of the Egyptian military has once again come under international focus, a day after the army unseated Mohamed Morsi and put him under house arrest. And creating growth out of barren land, crisis-prone Haiti is rolling out ambitious environmental projects with life-changing potentials. Well, that does it for this edition of the news. Thanks for your time, and stay tuned to GRTS and enjoy our programs. From me and the rest of the news team, do have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Senegal.